It was a normal day flying my drone. Nothing unusual. The wind was around 4 miles per hour. I was going up and up and up. Eventually, it started to get a little shaky, so I started to land. But it kept going up, okay? I thought nothing of it at the time. I thought maybe it was just a little malfunction. Nothing much. Maybe I could just aboard land, which means like it just completely shuts off all the engines except for 2 of them. And then it started moving around really fast, and I started to get nervous. So I desperately tried to press the auto land button. I did for about 5 minutes, press that button. Finally, it started to come down, and we were safe and sound. This is the video footage of it coming down. As you can see, the camera starts to fog up. I didn't know that the engine was overheating at the time, but it was actually overheating at about 150 Celsius degrees. Basically a melting point. So the camera stops and basically just freezes. I didn't know the camera was stopping. I didn't look on my my VR headset, nothing out of the normal. So kept going, and I took off again after replacing the propellers on the left and right back engines. Camera started to work again because I took about a 5-minute break, and it let it cool down. None of that was that weird. It's overheated before. Nothing that hot, but it's overheated before. We do live in Arizona, so it does get pretty hot, but it's winter time, so I didn't think anything of it. I went high, having some fun, looking out from the desert. Just good times. So it starts to get laggy again, as I can this time can see on my VR headset. Thinking that maybe I was just at a very high altitude, I started to land again, but really it wasn't that high of an altitude. This was my final chance, and I went up. Going up. I was planning on going very high and looking at the mountaintops. Then I realized that was not going to happen, and that I was just going to black out. See, I start to go up, higher than usual, but not that high. Looking down at my house, and maybe just getting a little footage of it. The camera, as you can see, is very shaky, and then it just blacks out. I basically almost started panicking. Well, I did start panicking. I started shaking because this drone was expensive, and it could easily land on a roof or crash from above. The propellers immediately stopped. The camera footage stopped, so my VR headset from live action stopped, and I couldn't see anything. It just saw black, so I took off my headset and saw that my drone was basically falling mid-air. Eventually, it started pulling back and going back on at about 1 throttle, which basically means like 1/3 of the percent, like that it's supposed to be running out. It was slowly descending, faster. Eventually, it hit a palm tree and started shaking. When it started shaking, the engine auto-propelled to 360 degrees, which means they all started, like, one engine started going at a faster velocity because it thought we were fine, but we weren't. We started landing, and eventually it got higher and higher at about probably 90-degree angle, going basically straight up. I started getting really nervous, so I pressed the auto brake. Pressed both the speed and the trick button, and it basically fell from midair. At that time, I started panicking, turned it back on mid-flight, and it barely landed. And with 3 of the propellers broken, I got it basically home, fixed it, and then flew some more. That's the daily event that I had today.